is free in a splash. Spilled all over myself. So hey guys, the Katsucon madness is over and I hope you guys are all relaxing just like I am. This is actually going to be the start of a new, hopefully series of videos called Convention Horror Stories. I'm going to tell you guys 3 stories today and hopefully they'll be mildly interesting. I've gone to conventions for several years now and I feel like I have a large mountain of stories that have just been untold of the horrors at the con center, ranging from the horrible body odor that you run into a cloud of as you walk down the hallway, to the unsealed body paint of so many Homestucks, that I think I've got enough to tell you. We're gonna start our video off with a story that is actually more my doing than anyone else's, because why not embarrass myself first before I start calling other people out? I myself am notoriously terrible at planning things ahead, costume-wise. Now, I don't necessarily mean that I don't get my costumes done on time, because somehow I always manage to do that. What I actually am referring to is the fact that I technically don't ever try my costumes on before I go to the convention. So many elements of the costumes actually end up getting overlooked, these elements being such things as, how am I going to get into this by myself? And, most famously, is this going to be comfortable for several hours during the day? My most recent experience with this, though, was at Youmacon 2013. As you can see, that was a little bit ago, so maybe I learned my lesson. This convention, I had been rushing to update my Homura costume for the second time. If you know Homura's design, you know that she has these weird sort of boots that are attached to her socks. I really don't know what to call them. What I did was I made a pair of leggings and I put shoes inside of them. So technically these were not only my shoes but my pants. So if I had taken them off during the day, I would have been exposing myself. Keep in mind, this is a terrible idea. A lot of other cosplayers have done this same technique where they make the shoes part of the pants. I don't recommend it. We were walking around for the majority of the day, and I believe this was Friday of the convention, so I didn't have anyone else that I was changing into. I had started, I think, around midday to start feeling some pain in my feet, and I thought it was just the average sort of like, I'm wearing high heels, and this kind of hurts. But it turns out that that wasn't the case, and I just kind of ignored it for a long time. I kept ignoring it, and I'm not sure why. I think I even took some painkillers, because in my head, I was just like, I don't wear heels that much. This is probably why. I was getting more and more uncomfortable as the day went on, and I didn't really want to express to my roommates that I was uncomfortable because I didn't want to have to make anyone go back to the room. If you know the Youmacon Hotel, the Renaissance Center, it has a large tower, and in that tower is all of the hotel rooms. We were on the 66th floor. Now again, if you've been to Youmacon, you know the elevator situation is pretty terrible. So I just figured I would tough it out until we actually decided to go back to the hotel room. But when we finally headed back up to our hotel room, and I took off those shoes, I had not only given myself some of the largest blisters I had ever seen, but my shoes, being new shoes that I had put inside the stockings, were not broken in yet. Both feet had gashes this long in their sides, and I was almost numb to it towards the end of the day, so I didn't think much of it, but I was not only in extreme pain, I was bleeding. So let this be a lesson to all of you. Make sure your costumes are actually comfortable. The pain is not worth it. It's not worth any of that. On to story number 2. This actually happened in the exact same location, but at a different convention. We went to Midwest Media Expo in 2015. Caitlin Amin had actually come to visit myself and Kid and had gone with us to the convention, and with her she brought her friend Zach. If you watch Amin's vlogs, which I will feature right here, you can actually see us walking around the convention and see our experience there. It was a nice time. But the thing about Midwest is it doesn't draw the same sort of crowd that Youmacon does. I don't mean it doesn't draw the same kind of people, I mean it doesn't draw the same amount. We couldn't help but notice that the entirety of us walking around Midwest was us surrounded by normal people. The main incident that I'm referring to happened when we were in the food court. Caitlin and Zach had decided that they wanted to order a pizza while we were in the food court. Caitlin and I decided we were going to go to the bathroom shortly after her and Zach had gotten the pizza, so we went together. While we had gone away, apparently an incident had happened between Zach and some guy who came and sat down near our table. And when we came back, I noticed Zach didn't seem super, happy? I don't want to say he seemed upset, but he didn't seem like he was very comfortable. And he said that guy at the end of the table just asked me if he could have the pizza. Don't let him have it. When we walked away from the table, the guy who was sitting over here got up almost aggressively. He looked at us and he said, "Are you gonna throw the rest of that pizza away?" And Caitlin goes, "Yeah." But at the same time that she said, "Yeah," I just shouted, "No!" and quickly picked up the pizza and we walked away. Zach then told us the rest of the story. Apparently when we had left, the guy came up to the edge of the table and told him, "Hey, if you give me a slice of that pizza, I'd give you something in return." Zach responded with, "No, I'm sorry. We're gonna finish the pizza." This guy did not take no for an answer. He then told Zach, "If you let me have a slice of that pizza, and then you follow me out to my car, I'll give you something. I'll give you something." I don't even want to try and imagine what this guy was going to give Zach, but I'm sure it wasn't anything that was good compensation for pizza. And then my third and final story is probably one of my favorite horror stories to tell. Favorite in that it is the worst story I possibly have. This took place at ColossalCon 2012. Myself and Kinder Kid were cosplaying from Black Butler, but we were doing an art book version, which was the Visual Kei version. They were not necessarily the most complicated costumes, but they were a little bit elaborate. I felt really cool. But somewhere midday, Libby had found us and we were all like, "Hey, let's go back to the hotel room," and the three of us were just walking down one of the hallways. If you've been to ColossalCon before, there's a hallway that leads from the actual lobby through a line of rooms and then into the convention center. So this is like the hotel here. Over here is the lobby, and over here is the convention center with the stairs that lead downstairs. It's very desirable to have rooms there if you have costumes that are bigger or elaborate, but it's less desirable in the fact that it gets a lot of foot traffic. And with foot traffic comes noise, and with noise comes drunk people. I'm going somewhere with this. So we had decided to go back to our hotel room, and like I said, it was in that main hallway. And we stop at our hotel room. We're getting out the keys to open the door, and I'm facing Kinder as she's getting the key to open the door, so my back is to the rest of the hallway. And all of a sudden, I feel something run into my back. And then I feel something else. I feel liquid running down my back, soaking through my costume. And I peer over my shoulder, and there's a girl, a very, very drunk non-con goer, holding a chalice. These are the chalices. They fill these up with alcohol. This thing is bigger than my head. Mine is currently full of dolphins. So one of those entire contents dumped down my back. Libby, being a nice person, immediately pulled me into the room. She helped me sop up all of the fruity alcohol that was now pungently staining and adding aroma to my clothing as these people ran away. But what makes it even worse was my judging appointment for the cosplay competition hadn't happened yet. It was later that day. Anyway, that is the extent of my stories for today. I promise I have more. I'm also going to add a little small blurb here. I will be at Animarathon this coming weekend. Just a one-day convention, and it is at Bowling Green State University. I will be there with Charismatic Alpaca as my Rei again, and I am wearing Nagisa. I'm not wearing this swim version, but I am wearing a canon casual version of Nagisa. I will be wearing a lot of pink. So if you run into me there, feel free to say hi. I won't be doing much other than making food runs for Min the Outcast while she's at her Artist Alley table. Speaking of, promo to Min the Outcast, if you want to buy adorable crocheted little animals like this turtle right here, you can find them at her table. But I hope you guys like this video. I really like telling these kinds of stories because I think they're really funny. Of course, they're not funny at the time, but they are now. If this was interesting to you, let me know down below in the comments section, and I'll make more of these then. I don't know if you guys have any horrifying convention stories. If you do, put them down below so I don't feel as bad. Alright, my name is Koala Luis. I'm horrified of normal people, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.